So, this is the story of me at the farm. I had traveled with my parents at the time when my dad was still alive, going to the farm and enjoying my, greenery of freedom on the farm, because my family owned a vineyard type thing, and I was on tablet forms of medications of just lithium and a antidepressant, citalopram type thing, and I think I was on modafinil. It's like it helps with sleep, clock disorder. Bipolar is a clock disorder. Um, it's not a standardized mental illness. It's technically like narcolepsy. Technically, it's kind of like a sleep cycle disorder. Um, so I was very much on bipolar medications completely and not on antipsychotic medications at all. So, my doctor misdiagnosed me technically, and, you know, I was getting by treading water with the medications I on. They were technically only 45% potent to the one that I'm on now, which is a liquid injection form of medication. And I just remember going to the farm and I accidentally forgot my medications. I went, oh shit, I've got to go back. So I had not taken my medications for like maybe 2 days type thing. And I ended up catching the train home from Morisset when my dad drove me to Morisset, and I took the train to Sydney to get my medications, and halfway to Sydney I started to feel a little bit like I was going to black out completely. So I took myself to the emergency room. I went to the emergency room and there were people there through COVID at the time, of kids with bad coughs where their parents didn't want to pay for Panadol type thing. And I kind of, said to them, I got a mental illness. I haven't taken my lithium medication. I'm feeling like I'm going to black out type thing, and I need a medication hit type thing. I need you to give me the medications. And they were kind of looking at me like I was a junkie type thing. So I ended up sitting there for a few hours, and then they asked me to leave. I said, I can't leave. I'm waiting for the psychiatric unit. I'm relapsing type thing. I need emergency ICU brain disorder dysfunctionality assistance. And they kind of said to me, you need to leave because we don't have the staffing to accommodate you, because it was a long weekend at the time or something like that. And pretty much I ended up walking out of there feeling a little bit wobbly on the lithium that they had given me type thing. And I ended up going back home, and I called my parents when I arrived, and they kind of said, take yourself to the emergency room. So I ended up back at St. Vincent's because, at the time I was under 30 years of age and I still qualified for U-Space. And I ended up back in St. Vincent's Hospital in the emergency department type thing. And, I was still afraid that I was going to black out completely and, end up like that guy who walked himself from South Australia all the way to Queensland type of level of, fear that I had for myself. So that's about it really. Got rejected at North Sydney. Got seen at St. Vincent's Hospital, where I went back up to the private ward where I got, recalibrated back to normalcy for a few weeks, and then I No, I ended up sorry because I was over 30 years of age. That was another time. Sorry. I ended up back just in the emergency room, and my parents came and they couldn't see me, and then they wanted me to sign paperwork that of guardianship and voluntary. Like, it was just an ordeal. I said, if I'm a psychotic patient and I'm incoherent, like, why are you getting me to sign legal documents that doesn't apply to me at all? You know? Like, just made no sense. Like, I'm not all there. How can this be a legal binding contract at all? You know? That's just the 2 cents of an idea I had at the time of, the situation I was in. Like, anyways, so I ended up, you know, being a level right adjusted back to normal, and, my parents had to drive back from the farm because of my condition. And yeah, so my family saw a lot of me very unstabilizingly well on lithium, completely yo-yoing between, well and unwell, and like it was like a plug that had holes in it type thing. Like, it kind of kept me right, but I was still, underneath the surface of the tablets. Like, I was still relapsing underneath the veil of medications completely. Like, it was just a disaster. So this is where a whole food, plant-based vegan diet is very much the stabilizing nutrition I need to stay functionally well, plus medications, because I've got brain damage disorder. And yeah, that's the story of how I got rejected at the door at North Sydney. And I kind of said to the person at the time, like, if I had a broken leg, you'd see me. But because I've got a blacking out, emergency need from you, you're going to reject me at the door, put me out back on the street to, hurt someone, or that's the fear I had. And that's what happened with Bondi. Like, he probably completely blacked out. I don't know. I don't know how to tell you. It's a scary sensation when you're not yourself, Like, it just completely takes you over, and you have no control in what you do at all. So that's why I went to the Bondi Memorial, and I kind of put a, sentimental gift for the victim, or who got, put down. I understand why police did that. I get it. But, when you're mentally unwell like that, like, it's not fucking fair. When you've been in and out of hospital your whole life, fighting the government that owns your ass, and you're being calorically deprived of food, it kind of needs to be a bit of justice for the person that got, put down that day, in a way. And that's the reason why he ended up unwell, because he wasn't on a whole food, plant-based, vegan fucking diet. That's your answer to why that man ended up hurting all those people. So yeah, that's about it really. Keeping on the mend, keeping in recovery, doing my best efforts to stick to, the injection medication that I'm on. But the thing is, like, I'm privileged because my family live in a well-lit area of situation. Like, I'm not homeless on the streets trying to pay for my medications and stuff like that, So when you've been denied and deprived for such a long time, your mental state becomes very volatile. And that's what happened at Bondi. So, yeah, that's about it, really.